Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of the Platinum Initiative podcast. I'm Waz and joined as always by Dex and Healed. And today, again, we are joined by No More Updates, aka No More. But he's going to join us for some more. So, I I think it's been a real good week. Again, lots of fun stuff going on. I think we thought a good topic to talk about was our top games, our top five games that we have of all time that we personally enjoy. And I think it was a good theme given that Doom was re-released, upgraded. I'm not sure if are the graphics better no more?
So as far as the graphics, everything definitely looks more enhanced, but it's the same great floppy disk graphics from 1993 when the game came out.
The good old days when I was 1 year old.
So I think given the theme of classic games coming back, I thought it would be good to go through our top five games. So I'll go first. So obviously picking five games going all the way back to the beginning of when you started playing is kind of difficult. So I did end up picking five. I had what I'll call a runner-up only because I felt bad leaving it out. Not that the game cares; it doesn't know any different because it's about 15 years old at this point.
It's gonna come find you, Waz.
It might.
It's
It
gonna
might.
beat you up in a dark alley.
It is sitting on my shelf, so it could find me. It doesn't need to pick an alley. It can just walk down the hall.
It doesn't want any witnesses.
So, all right, ready to start? I'll throw it out there. So my runner-up game is 2K4 Football, aka ESPN Football.
Are you doing that just to troll Healed?
No, I did not pick Beyond Two Souls, by the way. It is not on my list. Not to give any spoilers away.
Oh, so you could have trolled both of us in one play. That would have been.
Wait, you're serious though? 2K4 Football?
Yes. So you would wonder what the heck's so special about 2K4 and all that. So it was a mode they added, which first of all, the 2K games were just so much better than Madden. I mean, yes, Madden today is great because of all the advancements in technology and tackling, et cetera, et cetera. But for what it was back in the day, the 2K games were at the top. But they added a mode. It was first-person football, so you could play the entire franchise season, whatever you want, as the quarterback behind the helmet. You actually saw the bars on the helmet, throwing the football. You could run as your receiver, swimming, offensive, defensive linemen, swimming through other players. It was great.
It actually sounds pretty cool, but I would have liked to see that in a more modern game.
Well, that would take the Madden game to be innovative in that kind of way, and
Oh yeah, you mean EA
they
would
just
have
like
to
to
change
release
the
new.
formula?
Yeah, go figure. So, Dex, what's your runner-up game?
So, you said something about games from our childhood up until now. I kind of feel bad. I think there's only one game in my list from my childhood. The rest are more modern. But my runner-up is, in my opinion, the best game on the Nintendo Wii, Super Mario Galaxy.
All right.
That's a great one.
Yeah, it is the only game on the Wii that had motion controls that I could tolerate. It honestly gave me hope that motion controls would become better, and they haven't. I'm not saying that they were great in that game, but they were okay. They were passable. But the world design, like no world or planet, whatever they were called, felt the same. Every one of them was different from the last.
I think they were called galaxies.
That's well, I thought the Galaxies were the hub worlds, and I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I grew up on 3D platformers, and Galaxy, in my opinion, to this day is like one of the best ones that's come out. Despite the motion controls, which, by the way, I cannot state enough, I hate motion controls. It's one of the things that is making me stay away from VR. But yeah, that's me. So, I guess no more. You want to go next? What's your runner-up?
Sure. Well, so far, both honorable mentions have been really good. I'm not personally a fan of sports games, but I do get the appeal of actually being able to like see the game as if you were playing the sport. I get that, and I completely agree that platformers are phenomenal. So Galaxy, also a good choice. But my honorable mention, runner-up, as you will, I would have to say is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I absolutely loved the story of that one. I thought that the main villain, which it's pretty obvious even from looking at the box art, is the Nemesis. Just like him following you throughout the entire game and just the survival horror part of it. I'm not a huge fan of that, but there are games that I do like, and Resident Evil 3 was just one of those where even though I played it kind of young, and I kind of had help getting through it with my brothers because they were a lot older than me and they actually knew what they were really doing. It was just a really good and enjoyable experience, and it kept me on my toes as I was playing. And I remember like being afraid that the Nemesis was like gonna just be there at every turn and out to get me. So having to, focus on that, then also worry about surviving through the game, with the limited inventory that you have, just the classic Resident Evil feel to it. It was a wonderful experience and also terrifying at the same time. So I'd have to throw that into my honorable mention slot.
And the movies with Nemesis did not ruin it for you, right?
I will not speak of the movies. I would have to put them in a completely separate category. But yeah, so that's me for honorable mentions. So I believe Healed, you will bring us home with that.
All right. So mine is actually my first game that I ever played of all time, because I figured, that's a pretty fitting honorable mention. But that is the original Spyro the Dragon.
Another 3D platformer.
Warms my heart.
Yep. Great
that game. Oh, I love that game. That game is what got me to actually play games. And
also shows his age.
Well, I played stuff older than it later, but you start with whatever's current. You know what I mean?
No, I mean,
but anyway,
it's a fantastic game.
That game was wonderful, and I am very happy with the remaster as well. So, yeah.
Does it make you sad that there's a lot of people of the younger generation, not the youngest of the generation, but probably in between so we'll say 12, 13-year-olds, that the only thing they know Spyro from is Skylanders?
Oh, that's gross.
Yes,
yeah.
That's why I'm glad they did the remaster. Because now it brings it back so that, people can actually play the damn game.
So it was a thing before.
Yeah.
Before the.
But even people a bit older than that think of Spyro as this garbage 3D platformer because of the last game before Skylanders. Spyro wasn't very good at the end. Just in my opinion.
I only played it once. It was the demo disc that came with the PS1, I think.
Oh, demo discs. Those were great.
Yep.
I think it's the only time I played Spyro, other than Skylanders.
All
right. So to go into the top 5, we're officially in top 5 territory now. Beware. So number 5, and I'm curious, when I say this, I'm curious if any of you have actually played this game. So my number 5 is Pixel Junk Monsters.
Never played it.
And then after Dex gets up out of his chair from falling over.
More acceptable than Beyond Two Souls.
I told you it's not on the list.
Okay, I'm very happy about that.
Spoiler alert.
I'm very happy about that.
It was number 7. No, I'm joking. No, Pixel Junk Monsters, I do like those tower defense games. It's a very unique take on it. At least I guess in my opinion, where you're fighting little creatures to rank up your towers. You got to dance in them. Have your little tiki man dance in them. It's a very, very challenging game. Requires a lot of of planning, and it's one of those great games that if you have someone to play with you, it's that perfect couch co-op game, and couch co-op in that game makes it a lot easier because you can rank up two towers at the same time, and if you're standing the same one, it goes up faster. So it's a really fun, exciting, fast-paced game. But yeah, I just love the game. I played it when they I guess remastered it. I think I played on the Vita. I can't remember for my short term actually having it. And then when they had the new one come out for PS4, I went nuts with that one too. So
Was it originally a PS3 game or a PS2 game?
PS3.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright.
So what's number 5 on your list, Dex?
Healed will be very proud of me. This is my first game in this series. I consider it to be part of the series. Some people don't. Bloodborne.
Oh.
Oh man, I'm proud of you too.
So, some days I think Dark Souls 3 is the better game. Some days I think Bloodborne is the better game. But Bloodborne holds that special place in my heart because it was my first experience with that type of game. And I feel like you can't replace that, like the emotional triumph that you get when you beat that first boss. Like,
Yeah.
it's like heroin. Honestly, those games are so addictive for me. It's one of the few PS4 games that after I got the platinum, I went back and played it again. So yeah, I absolutely love Bloodborne. I'm in love with the entire Soulsborne series now because of it, and I'm very proud of myself for getting that platinum. Also, I don't know if you hear that siren in the background, but I apologize. And now,
Probably because you were talking about drugs.
Yeah, more than likely they heard you.
okay, my apologies, New York. And look, it's getting even louder. So I'm just gonna throw things off to no more and mute my mic for a second. Actually,
Alright,
wait, I'm not gonna
alright.
do that. Never mind. Go no more.
Okay, all right. Well, pending you don't get arrested, I will continue this, and I look forward to hearing the rest of your 5. But my number 5 might be a surprise. I think of all the people in this group right now, Healed probably understands my gaming flavor and the most, but it might also surprise him, and that would be the original Dead Space.
Oh. Okay.
And it almost follows the same reason why I loved Resident Evil so much. Dead Space is obviously a more updated game. I actually first ever played it on the 360. I didn't even play it on the PS3. And why I loved this game was I played the entire co-op, like the entire game. Sorry, not co-op, but with my friend. We sat through it together as we were playing and following each of the directions. And I have these hilarious memories of when the necromorphs, which if you're not aware, those are the main enemies. I have this hilarious memories of when the necromorphs would jump out of vents, or there was this one scene specifically where you you get off an elevator and immediately are greeted by a necromorph. And I just remember both my friend and I, Brandon, we would jump and it would just scare us. And we'd be like, nope, I don't want to play anymore. I'm just done. And then I also loved being able to dismember the enemies, and you get the ability to use telekinesis, and you can pick up their body parts, which are spiked usually, and you can shoot them back and impale them to walls. And I just thought the whole design of that game and how horrifying it was and the story to it all blended so well together, that I absolutely just had to include it in my top 5. So,
But before you move on,
uh-huh.
I just played that game last year for the first time.
Uh-huh.
Very good game. I never knew that you could do that with the telekinesis with the bodies. So
Yes. Oh
I
man.
have to
did
go
that
back
all
and
the
try
time.
that.
I promise you, it's so much fun.
Yeah, that never knew
Yeah.
about that. I've never seen videos of it, so I want to go experience that.
Well, there's a tip from me. So with that, I shoot it over to Healed to hear his number 5.
All right, so my 5 is very different from the previous one. It is actually Dragon Quest XI. Yeah, that would be mine for sure. It's just, I don't know. It's my favorite JRPG series, and it's my favorite of that series. So I had to give it a spot there, and it's just, it's like if you like JRPGs, this game is just takes everything good about JRPGs and smashes it together into one game, and then gives it like one of the most satisfying stories I've had in like experienced in a game probably ever. So I don't know, it's definitely up there, and I definitely recommend it to people.
Wait, no more. Were you upset when he said that?
No, I was. It was more of like an that makes
Oh.
sense.
Okay.
No. I was not upset. I promise.
Okay.
Don't worry. Don't
That's-
worry. I'm not shitting on number 8. That's not happening.
Why is that guy's opinion so wrong?
No, I mean, I just,
No. Just trust me when I say I absolutely love that game. Especially coming from a conversation Healed and I had before.
yeah, I told Healed last night I plan to play that game before the end of the summer. I will fail at that, just like Healed and Waz have been failing at playing God of War. But it's on my list.
Hey, PS5 launch title for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure, Waz. You know what? If
Hey.
you had played God of War, I bet you it would be in your top 5. Just like
Maybe. We'll see. We'll reapproach this in a year and a half.
Go on, Waz. It's your turn.
All right, so number four on my list, and I'm sure just like all of you, it starts to get really difficult to start putting these in order a little bit. But number 4 I have as Metroid Prime.
Fantastic game.
That's solid. That's a great number 4.
When I remember, I don't remember what E3 where they announced it, and I was sitting there looking at the news, and I was like, a first-person Metroid game? That's blasphemous! How can we have such a thing? And of course, bought the thing, played it, and you look at the clock, and it's like, it's hours later. It's an absolutely immersive game. I would, and by the way, you know me very well. I do not like first-person shooter games. That is probably my one exception of a game where everything about it I think is just absolutely perfect.
But it's not really a traditional first-person shooter. I think that's what sets it apart from everything else. Like, there's nothing like it besides the sequels.
Sequels a little different. Well,
I mean,
sequels get the third one got ruined because of the motion controls.
I'm not talking about the
but-
quality. I'm saying like in terms of being a game, there's nothing else like it, like Metroid Prime. It's somewhere between like a first-person shooter and like an action-adventure game. It's,
Well, true, because you can get in
Yeah. it's
your
different.
sphere ball thing and roll around.
Yeah, but
But-
solid choice.
All right, let's go backwards. Healed, what's your number 4?
Okay, here we go. So my number 4 is Nier Automata, and the reason for that is because I really like deep philosophical games. I don't know why. It's just like if something has some deeper hidden meaning that normal people won't pick up on, and you have to think about it, and I don't know, it just does something for me. I don't know what it is, but that game's story is exactly that, and the combat is really awesome, and the skill point system where you have to basically upgrade your character by putting in like computer chips to modify how your android self works, and you'll have a certain amount of room for computer chips and stuff, was really well thought out, and I don't know, I just really liked it.
So you're
Finally, a game you guys put on the list that I've actually played all the way through.
Yeah.
I was about to say his list is just gonna be games that are like on my shelf right now, but I'm looking at, but I've not played yet. So
He probably
Oh.
looked at your shelf and that's how he selected them.
that's
Oh, trust me,
Weird.
there's some on. There's, I think, one on here you've played, maybe two.
hopefully.
No, but you know, honestly, it's not my genre of game, but I really enjoyed the game. So clearly, yeah, I can see why it's up there on your list. It fits you.
Okay, so it's no more now. If we're going backwards.
Yeah, I still fall into the same place. So
Fine.
moving
Dex, go next.
moving over to Dex then.
I'm really not sure if I'm supposed to go now or not. So I'm just gonna go. Okay? The only game on my list that was released pre-2000. This is the one game I said from my childhood. Very similar to my honorable mention. In my opinion, this is the game that started it all. Super Mario 64. When it came to 3D platformers, this is where it began. I know technically Crash came out before that, or at least I think I know that. I hate Crash Bandicoot, the game series.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, I just don't like it, and I also think that it's very different from Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro. Like, they're very different games, so I don't even consider that.
I think the word you're looking for is difficult.
No, because I beat it as a kid. Well, not true. I almost beat it as a kid. I gave up because it's a trash game, okay? But we're
Sure,
talking about
sure.
good games, not our top 5 worst games of all time, or top 5 best games of all time. Super Mario 64 started it,
Okay.
and to this day, one of the games that I revisit almost every single year from start to finish. Love that game.
All right,
No
Yeah.
more.
see that.
You may
Super
go now.
Yeah. Well, Mario 64 is quite a wonderful one. I'd have to say platformers are like my bread and butter when it comes to games, and so I like that choice as well. But my number 4, and this I didn't want to give it away, but this is why you will see I did not scoff at Heald's number 4. But mine is Dragon Quest 8.
Aha.
And I think that is probably because I have not played Dragon Quest 11 yet. But I know that with 8 specifically, again, much for the very same reasons Heald liked 11, I also loved 8. The characters were ones that I could just like really enjoy playing as, and just seeing how they interacted with each other, the story and journey of that game. I also liked that in the game you know, and I think this is something that happens a lot in most of the Dragon Quest games, you actually can like capture monsters and have them fight with you. And in that game I also remember this one specific monster named Talos. He was this giant stone monster that you find out in like a desert area, and he was giving me so much trouble, tons and tons. And then all of a sudden, like, I invite my friend over to come play the game with me, or just to like hang out, and we were going to play the game. And the very first time I fight this monster, as soon as my friend gets there, I beat him. So from then on, I like played the game with my friend, because I was like, oh, he's my good luck charm. No matter what I do, like everything's going to go great because he's with me. And it was just an absolutely phenomenal game, and one that I would absolutely love if they put on the PS4. I don't unfortunately think it's going to happen, but if in any sense, or if they did bring the PS2 version to be able to be purchased on the PS4, that would just be phenomenal. So that is my number 4. So back to you.
Are there other Dragon Quest games, or is it just, this isn't meant to be a smart ass question?
No,
Yes,
no,
there are.
They're like 1 through.
Yeah,
Those
they're-
1
they're-
through 11, and there's
Yes.
even side games. It's just like 8, 11, and 10 and 7 are basically the main ones that most people play.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also the side
Looks like
games
they're
are
doing every
different
year.
genres. But I'm gonna say that again. The side games are different genres. Like they're still
Yeah.
RPGs, but like one is an
Yeah, like-
action RPG, one is a turn-based RPG, one is like kind of like a Minecraft type of game
Yeah.
that's better than
Isn't
Minecraft.
that the one you're playing right now, Healed?
Yep.
Yeah, the Dragon Quest Builders game. There's one that I actually have progress on PlayStation, so I might go back and finish it at some point. But it's like a Dynasty Warriors version of it. But Dragon Quest 8 solidifies as my number 4.
Okay.
All right.
Back to Oz.
We're at
Back to
number
Oz.
3 now.
Yep.
We are.
All right, number 3. It is a game that I am sad that I did not platinum, only because it took too much time. And when the servers closed, I was too scared that someone would reset my points to negative 1 billion. But my number 3 is Warhawk. So I don't know if you guys played that game before at all. No?
I know that game. My brother loves that game.
It was just outstanding game. And again, another weird one on my list. I do not like war games. So another thing you will never see me really play, the Call of Duties and the Battlefields and all that. No, won't touch them. But Warhawk, it was, first of all, it was third person, so I seem to like those. But it was a very, the graphics weren't too realistic, right? They were more, I don't want to say cartoonish. That's not framing it right, but it was a game that was serious for what it was, but it was more, it had more of an arcade feel. I think it was. So just lots of memories. My wife and I would play that game all the time. Her favorite thing was just to go, not really base camp the enemy, just go run in there, throw a mine in there, and then just sit there and hide and watch the other people blow up when they would spawn on a mine. And I'd be flying around in the Warhawk planes, just blowing things up, which is great. I don't know how many. I think I put in, gosh, and this is going to surprise you too. I think I put like over 300 hours into that game, just
And
playing.
no platinum?
Yeah, that surprises me immediately.
What slowed the platinum down was you had to get certain medals in the Warhawk itself, and it was like 1,000 kills with this lightning gun. The lightning gun was the most weak weapon possible. You could shoot it at someone 10 times and not even kill them. It was ridiculous. So I mean, there was just things that didn't get like that, and the amount of points that you would have to get just by playing the game legitimately to get the was it the general was the highest? I forget what the highest rank was. It was just legit playing. You'd probably have to put in a good 700-800 hours. There's ways you could boost it, but then again, nice hackers ruined all that. So I didn't want to get reset. I just stayed away because I would have had to put another 100 hours into just boosting it to get the platinum, and I moved on.
Was that
Still have the game.
was
Play
that
couch
a launch
co-op.
title
It may have been.
for the PS3, right? Because I know it's a pretty old game.
It was old. I mean, it we started playing it before trophies existed, so that was. I think it was one of the first games to actually get the trophy patch, where they added them in.
Interesting.
But I can't remember because it's not my first. Oh no, it is my first trophy. I take it back. My first trophies from Warhawk. My first platinum was Burnout. That's why I get confused.
According to a list on the internet, which again we all know is true, Warhawk was not a launch title.
Okay.
Oh, it was probably close though.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Alright. Is it back to Healed?
No, let's go No More next.
Hey, me, number 3. All right, so number 3, I would have to slot the game Devil May Cry 5.
Oh.
See, originally it was going to be Devil May Cry 3 because I absolutely loved that game. I played through that game many times. It is one I don't have the platinum yet. I actually have not really gotten into the trilogy remastered on the PlayStation yet, mostly because I know that they're single-player games and I can do them anytime. But Devil May Cry 5 was absolutely beautiful, and I waited so long for a proper sequel from the 4th game. I mean, obviously we had DMC, Devil May Cry in the middle, but that was made by a different studio. And while I'm not trying to say bad things about that game, it wasn't the same story, it wasn't the same characters, not the same Dante or anything like that. So it can't be compared to in the same way. But Devil May Cry 5, I waited, I think it was 12 years before that game came out. And to see the classic Dante return in absolutely beautiful HD with the same weapons, the same characters, and then obviously there's also new characters. And then the story of that one, which had me surprised and shocked at so many different times. I mean, I remember I've got it day one, which I don't normally do. Day one, and when I was playing through that, I absolutely had my headset on with the full game sound. I didn't skip any of the cutscenes, which that's a big deal for me. I always skip cutscenes. I don't care anything about lore usually, and this game I absolutely did and would absolutely recommend it over and over as a fantastic action hack and slash.
So to not have you tip the hat onto what your games above it are, what's better about 5 than the first one?
Than the first game?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to tip the hat, but I will say.
Bad question, Loz.
It really is hard to not give it away. Trust me when I say the games are so different. And the reason why they're different is also a thing. You'll just have to see, but the games are just completely different games. It was these top 3, I'd say, out of the 5 were the hardest to just order. But when I really look into it, these 3 specifically are just solidly placed, and they have their specific reasons, which you'll find out after we move to Dex.
Well, I thought it would be healed next. I wasn't expecting this, but
you
okay.
thought wrong.
Okay. I was very excited for this game for 9 years, and it came, and I literally took a day off from work to make sure that I could get the game at midnight. Stayed up all night, and then all day. Took like a 5-hour extended nap after being up for like 30 hours. Woke up in the middle of the night and then played that game again for another 12 hours. This game is Red Dead Redemption 2. Honestly, if it wasn't for how shitty the online is and some of the problems with the controls of that game, this could have potentially been my number 1 game on the list. But the controls I can almost overlook. You kind of get used to them after an hour or 2 of playing the game. The online I cannot overlook. It's just garbage. It's like the economy of the game is built in a way where they want you to spend a ton of money, and it wasn't really like that with the first game. But after the success of Grand Theft Auto 5, that's all they care about. It really ruined it. It takes, God, dozens of hours probably to get to level 50 for the platinum. So it's not really the platinum that I'm worried about. Just I don't enjoy the online, and it holding me back from the platinum does affect it a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, fantastic game. One of the best stories ever told in a video game, in my opinion, and great cast of characters.
Well, first of all, the way you were setting that up about, great story, pre-ordered, you were excited for it. I really thought you were going to say Beyond Two Souls. However, no, and have you done all the gold missions, or gotten gold medals in all the missions yet?
See, that's another annoying trophy to get in that game. I have not done that yet, mainly because I want to do the online first, which that will take me months because I hate that fucking online. Sorry for swearing, but that's how bad it is. No, I have not done that yet. I've made some progress on it. It's not as hard as people say it is. It's just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, trophies honestly have ruined me for that game. I really want to play it, but at the same time, it's like, geez, I'd want to get the platinum, but I don't want to play the missions or chapters, whatever I guess they're called in the game. I don't want to play them in the set way that they tell me to, which is why, well, I was going to bring up Assassin's Creed. Heald would yell at me. Never mind.
So
Abandon that.
yeah, the single player alone, if assuming you want to get all the trophies, not counting the gold medals, is at least 200 hours. So add in the gold medals, which would be like another 20 to 30 hours, and then online another 20 to 30 hours. That's like a 300-hour platinum. So I understand your reasoning, but that wasn't going to hold me back from playing that game.
Well, you know, I figured I can get that game and only that game next year, and that's all I would play. Oh, where'd he go? He's still playing Red Dead. Oh.
Alright, so I'm pretty sure I was the last one for number 3, right?
We've
no,
done Heald,
no.
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, no.
I'm sorry.
He's picking Dragon Warriors 9. Or Dragon Quest, sorry.
No, I'm not picking Dragon Quest
Wait,
9. It wouldn't make any sense.
Hold on, wasn't it originally Dragon Warriors when the series first started?
I don't know. It might
Wait,
have
so I was
been.
correct?
I think Waz was unintentionally correct.
Possibly, slightly. I'll have to look up and verify that at a later date. But my third one is Monster Hunter World. Finally, a game that Dex has played that's on my list.
Yes.
But
finally. Well, I played Spyro, but that's an honorable mention. So.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, my number 3 is this game. I absolutely love this game. I have played this game way more than I should have. I think I have like 380 hours in it at the moment, and it's only going to keep growing because it's just a wonderful game. I love the combat. I love the whole grinding up your skills, and not all the monsters are just so well designed, and it's just like constant high tension boss fights pretty much. I just love it.
Can I ask you a question before you
It
move
is
on?
a solid one.
Yeah, it's a great game. Love that game. But can I ask you a question? Have you played Monster Hunter before World?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my first one, Monster Hunter World. So I keep hearing from people that they casualize Monster Hunter with this game.
Even I could chime in on that. Because I tried playing a PSP version of a Monster Hunter well before I started playing World, and I could barely kill almost said that wrong. I could barely kill the very first monster in the original PSP version game.
Yeah, it is a lot more casual, but at the same time, the thing with Monster Hunter is it was always like super hardcore and you had to know your shit to do it right. But it was also pretty clunky. They did away with the combat clunkiness while also making it more accessible to other people. I don't mind the more accessible to other people. It's mostly just quality of life things that I kind of wish were in the game to start with in the first place.
So they casualize it in a good way.
Yeah, like, as a good example, in this game, whenever you pick up a material, it'll send it to your box to store it. The other games, you have a set number of bag space, and everything you pick up in the entire mission, whether it be carved monster parts or materials you gather like herbs and honey, would go into that bag space. So you have to select what you actually care about bringing back as opposed to just bringing everything back.
Okay, alright. That actually explains a lot. But yeah, other people I've heard from say it's been casualized in a bad way. I have no prior experience with the series, so I was wondering what your opinion was.
I mean, I still love all the rest of the series. Honestly, I'd recommend playing the other games too, just so you can like see the monsters, because that's the thing that's the most casualized in World is they basically don't have any returning monsters, and most of the monsters are pretty similar. The monster range is very small in this game compared to normal Monster Hunter games. Like, for example, Generations has, I think it's 90-something monsters in it, as opposed to, like, the 20-ish in World.
No, it's more than 20, but Anyway, I feel like Waz is gonna, have an aneurysm or something if we don't move on.
I passed out. I passed out. For
So, Waz, go ahead. What's your number 2?
Where am I? Hold on. I get to get back at Healed now because he was talking about that. So my number two is a sequel of a game, NBA Street Volume 2.
Okay, I'm not even gonna say anything because that was a really good game. I had a blast playing that game, so no complaints.
Yeah, excellent arcade 3-on-3 basketball game, completely over the top, and that's what's great about it. They ruined it when they came out with the third one. They tried to make it more realistic. Look how well it sold. So should have just made the exact same thing and just stuck another number on it and had that come out on the PS3, but fine, whatever. But no, I mean, you could play as a bunch of legendary basketball players, legendary street players. It was really fun having Bill Russell jump in the air and just grab a ball midair. Getting his block steal and forming a team of 3 different Michael Jordans, just depending on what year you're playing as. So, yeah, I played the out of that game. Just
it's okay. I've already said it once. Well, I'm sorry. You can say
You're sorry
it too.
what?
Never mind. Who's next?
All right. Well, Healed's got to wake up. So, X, what's your number 2?
Okay. So, Healed, wake up, and Waz, pay attention, because, the 2 of you need to play this game. And I swear to whatever god there may or may not exist, that if you don't play this game, by the end of this year, there will be punishment. You must play God of War, the 2018 version, or else. Because I said that Red Dead Redemption 2 had one of the best stories. God of War quite possibly might be the best story ever told in a video game. They took all the flaws from the original trilogy and used them to make this near perfect game. And I don't want to say any more because you haven't played the game yet. You must play it by the end of this year, Ross. And you're too Healed.
It's a PS5 launch title.
No, you're playing it by the end of this year. I demand it.
I'm literally putting it off just to spite you.
I demand it.
I have really no good reason why I haven't played the game.
Yeah, we know. We've heard it a million times, Waz. You pre-ordered the game, you got the fucking collector's edition. There we go, I said it again. Because I'm really annoyed with you. You got the collector's edition, and you still haven't played the game. It's just sitting on your shelf.
Yeah.
There is no excuse. No more. You played the game, right?
Loved it.
See? No more loved it. Water loved it. Come on. Just play it. Anyway, go Healed. You're number 2.
Oh. Okay.
He's mad.
I'm a little... Yeah, every time we talk about this, I get more and more frustrated.
Alright.
Can't wait to hear what your number 1 is then.
Oh, I already know what it is. Anyway, here we go. My number 2 is... This will probably surprise literally nobody. Final Fantasy XIV.
Honestly, yes. I thought that was going to be your number 1.
Oh, dude, no.
The way you talk about that game, I thought it was going to be your number 1.
Dude, okay, the problem I have with this is I can't put it at number 1 because this is a number 1 game thing. I don't even think of this game as a game anymore.
It's a way of life.
Like,
it's a
yes,
whole other. It's a whole other.
much.
It's a whole fantasy.
It is half of my life, is what it is. Like, that, my character is part of me at this point. I have played this game for so long. So it's just, it had to be on this list, even if I don't think of it as a game anymore. And it doesn't deserve anything less than number 2. I can't give it number 1. I can give it number 2, though.
Alright, I'd rather give it number 14, but let's move on.
Oh,
Go no more.
Okay, so my second one on the list, again, it was kind of hard to determine. Like I said, the top three, but once I really got down to thinking about it, I absolutely knew my number one. And so between Devil May Cry 5 and this one, I'd have to say this is number two, and that is Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Ooh.
And, honestly, I don't know what it is about this game. It's got that je ne sais quoi, as people say. It's just got that factor of it that immediately had me so drawn in with, once again, the story. Nothing in the story you can actually skip. The cutscenes are all built into the game. It's kind of on that line of, it's a walking simulator, but you do actually interact with things, and it is kind of a survival horror-esque game. But just like the art style of it, the characters of it, I actually got so enveloped into it. I researched and watched game theory videos on it. I watched up other videos discussing potential sequels for it, and I absolutely just loved. And I actually am very excited at the idea that they are making a second game. It's not a sequel. It's essentially a game that's set in a different time of the same world, apparently, and that's all we know so far. But that just has me absolutely ready for more and more. And another thing that's just, I love about the game. So I played it and beat my entire first playthrough. I looked up no guides. I didn't look up any collectible things or whatever, obviously going for the platinum as well. But I played the whole thing with my best friend back home, and it was just one of the most enjoyable experiences that we both had. We jumped at the same things. The characters, some of them made you laugh at times. It was so well done, and it was such an underrated game, because you'd look at it and you think, oh, well, that's not like a AAA title, so it's not going to have much into it. But another one that I could not recommend enough is Bendy and the Ink Machine. Absolutely a phenomenal number two.
I've never heard of it.
I did not see that coming, although I should have, because I feel like you brought this game up when you... Does that game have a platinum?
So it does, and sometime after I joined this,
Yeah.
I remember, not specifically, but I know during a discussion we've had back when you guys were getting to know me, I posted that I got this platinum, and I was really excited about it. And I told you all about it, and I said, hey, you absolutely should play this game. It's a wonderful experience to play through.
That's what
What's
I
it
was
called?
going to say. I was
Easy and the
referring to
Bendy
that.
Straw?
I'm sorry, what was?
I was like, what's the game called again?
It's called Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Where did you get straw from? Well, I guess
Something.
Bendy straws? Yeah, okay, never mind.
There you go.
That just clicked. Anyway.
What? But yes, that's my number two. So, Waz, I think it's time to bring us home
is
with
it-
the number one.
I'm just curious. I mean, it's a brand new-ish game, right?
The game came out late last year, and it was also one that I got day one, because I was just so excited for it, just at the prospect of it, and everything. It actually initially, I sit corrected. I'm sitting down right now. It actually came out April 27th of 2017. That was its original release back on Steam, and it was released as an episodic game, sort of in the way that Telltale games were done, where at first you could only play chapter 1, and then there would be teasers as the chapters were being released later. Now, I never played it until I found it was coming to PS4, but I remember being so initially excited for it, just at looking at it, that I didn't watch any gameplay videos. I didn't look up anything that could potentially give away the story, as I knew that the game was coming out. And I'm pretty confident it did release on PS4 near the end of last year. I don't know that for sure.
I'm pretty sure
but-
you're right. Pretty sure you're right.
But
about
nevertheless, yeah, it's not the newest game, but it's certainly not an old game either.
that. All right, Waz. Do you want
Passionate
to do you
about it.
want to be the first one to talk about your number one game?
I will talk about my number one game of all time.
Ooh.
So my number one It's going to fit in with what my number 4 was. So, drum roll.
Wait,
it
hold on.
is-
Remind us what number 4 was?
Number 4 was Metroid Prime.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay.
Yes.
I forgot
So
the order of your games. Go on.
Oh,
Number
Sorry.
one. Number 1 is Madden. No, I'm joking. It's
That doesn't fit. That doesn't fit at all. I
Oh.
would quit.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're gonna say though.
Super Metroid.
Yeah,
So-
I actually knew that.
I think everyone has played the game, so there's not really much for me to talk about. But it was. I can remember being in the store, buying the game. I can remember opening the thing, putting it in. Because I liked the original Metroid quite a bit. Super Metroid. It feels like the original, but I mean they just took it to a whole new level when they made that. But again, it's I don't know how many times I played through beating the game, and it's one of the only games that I've actually completed in the speed run time that they want you to beat it in, and I hate speed runs. So, well, it's before the days of the internet. I was like, well, I got to see that. So
I'm just happy it
uh,
wasn't Beyond Two Souls. It's like, I'm just happy about that. So, I mean, solid choice, obviously.
no, it's Heavy Rain. That's my number 1.
Oh yeah, secret number
You
one.
know what? I haven't played that game yet, so I don't know if it's bad. I'm just guessing what it is. Anyway,
Yeah, Super Metroid, and to be honest, Super Metroid number 1 and realistically between the number 2, there's a gap. I don't think there will ever be anything that will ever reach my love for that game. So, all right, Dex, what's yours?
I'm not spending too much time on this. I've talked about this enough in front of you guys. Healed knows. I don't know about you, Oz, if you remember. Healed knows. No more doesn't. But Red Dead Redemption 1.
I had my suspicion.
Yeah, look, I love 2, and I mentioned that I was waiting for that game for 9 years. Yeah, it's because of Red Dead Redemption 1. I had an experience with that game where at first I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. It has a slow start. I didn't like it. Went back to it like 6 months later because I was going for Xbox achievements back then. I'm like, I'll get some achievements and then move on. I started playing that game. It was like 10 p.m. And then I started to notice the sun was coming up. And I realized, oh wow, it's like 8 a.m. already. That was the first time that had ever happened to me. Where I played a game without realizing how much time had passed by. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. In my opinion, my favorite game of all time.
Great game. I was a little burnt out on replaying it so many times. So thank you, reliable PS3s and
Oh yeah.
no cloud storage system at the time.
For anyone confused, you don't have to replay that game. That's the problem with Waz's PS3. Play that game and go for the platinum. It's still achievable.
All right.
No more.
Good to know.
Go. Your favorite
All
game
right.
of all time.
Favorite game of all time? I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before with you guys. I feel like I possibly have, but I'm not entirely sure. And it actually fits in with the entire reason why we're even having this discussion. But my number 1 game of all time is Doom 1993. Good old floppy disk Doom. I just love this game so very much. It's a wonderful first-person shooter without even being a game of depth. There's zero depth in the entire game. Like, honestly, I actually just bought it on PS4 today. I already beat it, the entire game. I did a nightmare run with another guy, and I'm telling you, like, I have no idea what the story is other than I'm some dude killing demons. But that alone, like, I wanted to buy it, and I almost did buy it the very second I heard that it was on PS4, but I was at work, so no access to it, and I didn't have my phone on me to do that. But I absolutely love this game. It's fun every single time. Even on the hardest difficulty, I had a heck of a time just going through it and breezing through the levels, or not breezing through and actually spending like 30 minutes to an hour on one. But that was, again, just because it was on the Nightmare difficulty. The regular game, just playing through it casually is fun. It's enjoyable. There's not a variety of weapons like they have in like Doom 2016 and the soon-to-be Doom Eternal, but they didn't need that. And with that, like that by itself, just you can play through the whole game and use the shotgun the whole time, and just still have such a blast. The bosses were creative. The game itself was creative. And for its time especially, it was revolutionary. And a little-known fact, so computers, and this will make sense, I promise, but computers have different ports that they run services on. And there is, and this is official, and this legally can never change, port 666 is known as the Doom port. And there's a obvious reason behind that. I won't go into the details, but just FYI, that game was revolutionary for its time.
Definitely.
And it's absolutely phenomenal. So again,
One
it
of-
seeds my #1 spot. Can't ever undo that.
One of the most important games in video game history as well.
Thoroughly. And so that is why it takes that spot. Also, it was introduced to me by my dad, and it's one of those great things I share with him and will always be able to share with him throughout my life.
Awesome.
Good.
Healed?
But I'm a little curious though. Why wouldn't you compare Devil May Cry 5 to Devil May Cry 1? I thought that was going to be number 1.
aside from the sheer fact that they're the same fruit, apples to oranges, they're just different games. And I didn't want to compare them because I didn't want to say, oh well, it's different genres.
Although your act is like, I don't want to say it because it's my number 1.
Well, I didn't want to tip the hat in any way. I didn't want to give you any inclination as to what it was. I wanted that pure raw surprise factor.
All right, fair enough.
He was messing with you, Oz. That's all it was.
For
Exactly.
Sure.
So please, Healed, bring us home.
All right. Well, okay. So I don't think I've literally ever mentioned this game a single time to any of you, but my favorite game of all time is Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
We've already talked about this.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, I
There
did.
is no game that will ever reach it. Like Waz was saying, there's a sizable gap for him between 1 and 2. Mine is like an impassable, like, giant chasm. There's no way anything will ever get to it.
Not even Beyond Two Souls?
No, not even that masterpiece. No, seriously, no. But nothing could ever get there for me. I love literally everything about that game. There's not a single thing that, if I was looking back on it, I would ever change about it. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't happen with me with games. I analyze the games that I play, and sort of, I find a lot of faults when I'm playing games, and I always wish they would fix them or think about how they could have done it better. That game, I just can't find anything, and it's the only game that I can't find anything wrong with it, and I just love the whole time. So yeah.
Okay. We have a little bit of time left, just a few minutes, so I just want to ask one question for Healed.
Alright.
Why is there no Kingdom Hearts game? I thought that was your favorite franchise of all time.
Second.
Okay, second. Is it behind Legend of Zelda?
Yeah.
Okay, but still, no Kingdom Hearts. What's
Okay.
up with that?
My top 5 games is very much different than my top series.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, if you're for a series, you like the thing, like the series. For me, in Kingdom Hearts, none of them really alone stand out at a crazy height. I just like the series, you know what I mean? As a package of all of them together, it's my second favorite.
I totally
Yeah, I
get
get
that. I totally get that
Yeah.
opinion. That is how I feel about Kingdom Hearts. But yeah,
No,
I was just curious.
I get that. I can relate in the sense that Devil May Cry as a series is my top. I would have no other series above it. But by itself, standalone, Doom 93 is just absolutely Doom 93. It's number 1.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, all that was a joke because my number one is Beyond Two Souls.
All right. We're ending this
but anyway.
right now. This is over. I will never return to another episode of this podcast.
This will be another lost episode.
Yep.
All right. Whatever. So that's all we have. We're gonna call it a day, so Dex can get back to continuing that game and getting his platinum, so that he can burn that off of the hard drive. So, on behalf of all of us here, thanks for listening, and see you next time.
That's it.
I'm gonna
Bye.
buy that disc and break it in half.